The next one's consistency. Is your client experience delivered in a consistent way? So I want you to be thinking about how we answer the phone, how we book calls, overall, how do we respond to our leads? My question is it consistent? How we run repair calls, how we run maintenance calls. Do we run them the same every time? Is it consistent? How's our training? Is it consistent? Does it happen on a recurring basis? Is it structured? Is it consistent? My sales process when I run sales calls, including the follow-up of those sales calls, is that consistent? The installation of my products, right? The production, the installation, the quality, is that consistent? What about selling and running memberships? Is that consistent? What I want you to remember when it comes to consistency is an absolute, meaning it's either there or it's not. There's no medium, there's no gradient to consistency. There's no sometimes you're consistent. We're either consistent or we're not. So I'm curious, in all the areas I just mentioned, are you consistent? Or do we have some work to do? And again, consistency is an absolute. It's not a gradient. It's yes or no. So 84% of us on the call today, super proud of you. We got some work to do, and that's okay. That's why you're here. There's no problem with that. We do have some of us today that, yeah, okay, we're consistent. And we've probably done a lot of work to get there. And that's the goal. So consistency, again, maintaining momentum, creating momentum. We got to audit consistency. We got to go to work on consistency. The purpose here is when we allow the waves of the business to determine how you act, is there any possible way that we're consistent? There's not. There's no way. If the waves and the dumpster fire of the day-to-day allow us and dictate how we act, there's no way that we can be consistent. Again, consistency being a yes or a no. So we owe it to our teams, we owe it to our people, we owe it to our clients to start thinking about how do we operate in a consistent manner across the board. So when I think about, okay, that's great and all, but like how do I improve my level of consistency? Maybe it comes down to planning, training, automating certain operations to make them consistent, but it also may come down to how you choose to spend your time. Again, the prioritization of tasks, the structure. What are we spending our time doing? Is it the actions of the chaos of the day-to-day, or is it creating and managing the process? So setting and supporting standards. When it comes to being consistent, we have to apply it to setting and supporting our standards. See, because the standards that we set are only a part of the game. My question would be, what do you actually support? What level of accountability today exists for your team? What level of accountability actually exists in the business for your standards? I'm going to tie this back to the consistency results. Right? We identified that we're not all consistent. So what I would say to that is only you can decide how high the bar is set in regards to how you support your standards, how you hold your team accountable to your standards. If you're on today and you're thinking, okay, maybe there's not a clear understanding of the standards, I would say that we need to go back and redefine our standards. If our team is not entirely clear as day on what our standards are, and whatever realm we're operating in, we need to go back and redefine some standards, set some expectations. I can't hold my team accountable if I'm not clear on what I expect.